My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hello, and welcome to this stream that we're doing live watch along. The first match for Eala since her surprising and incredible run in Miami, but it comes now in quite different conditions, quite different setting of a WTA 125 event in Portugal, Oeiras. And goes in now as the number 1 seed. And of course, this takes place on clay, which is, a surface that she's less experienced on and certainly less adept on to the sort of quicker hard courts. And she's playing a fairly tricky opponent in Koevermans, who's ranked, let's say, around 182 in the world. And she has a bit more experience than Eala on this surface. I think, Eala, she has quite a, she hits quite a flat ball, and the way that she plays her game, it is a bit more effective on the quicker surfaces. So yeah, it's particularly hard courts. But Eala, she's not without some decent results on the surface herself, and she actually played Madrid last year and got a win there and almost got through the second round, just a close match against Kirstea. Of course, Madrid WTA 1000 event, but it does play not like a typical clay court in the conditions there. But of course, Eala comes in pretty good form and she'll be confident here. Her opponent hasn't had a brilliant start to the year, although, as I said, she's got good experience on clay. She's won a couple of clay titles last year on the ITF circuit. So, Eala's probably got to be on it. I mean, obviously, Koevermans is not going to be underestimating Eala, I believe. So, it's going to be a bit more pressure on Eala here to perform. The expectations now are different, but a pretty good start there for Eala to go and hold to love. So she hasn't hasn't lost a point yet already. So yeah, so Eala's maybe going to have to play a little bit differently from she would have done in Miami, but be a bit more patient in terms of building the points. But I mean, obviously she does have she should have good experience as well, training on clay as well. Of course, a product of Rafa Nadal Academy, and I mean, she almost qualified for the French Open last year. She got to the third round in the qualifying, just lost out. Same also at Wimbledon and at US Open. So she was knocking on the door in these big tournaments, but yeah, she didn't quite break through, and obviously it did come this time in the Miami Open. Quite a remarkable run, obviously getting the wild card there, but yeah, I mean, I think Eala she does have a good tennis brain on her, but maybe she's it takes a while to sort of get the consistency and level, and perhaps we'll be starting to see it from her now. Up to near the top 70 at the moment. I think she was up to 73 in the rankings, but John's asking, will Eala ever lose a point again? Well, she just has lost one, but only one so far in this match. And she's just lost the second one there with the error going into the net with the forehand. Looking at the draw, I'd imagine Eala is obviously quite aware that, you know, it's a little bit more tricky for her on clay, right? And yeah, I think, you know, she's probably a smart thing yet as well to not sort of play any bigger tournaments and go for this 1-2-5 first before she goes to play the bigger tournament next. So yeah, and hopefully try and, from her point of view, get a few matches under her belt, because she'll need it going into the clay season, and she will. She should be in the main draw for the French Open for the first time, so she'll be making her, you know, not only her French Open debut, but her Grand Slam main draw debut. So that is a big thing for her, and yeah, obviously she'll be wanting to make the most of it and get a good number of matches under her belt. But she's done well here to construct a point, hitting pretty well, and she's got a break point here early on against Koevermans. Looking at the draw as well, I think for Alex, if she does get through this one, she's a somewhat tricky tie in the next round. So, but it looks like Koevermans has managed to hold on, coming into the net there, finishing off nicely to bring it back to deuce, and yeah, advantage for Koevermans. Yeah, and a few sort of other experienced players in the draw. So you've got Katie Volinets, Elisabetta Cocciaretto, Anna Bondar, and Yuan Wei, as well as Sorana Cirstea, who I mentioned earlier. She lost to in Madrid last year in that close match. But, you know, Eala, she does, was that ball just sailing long there from Koevermans? Yeah, she's certainly a fighter, isn't she, Eala? And she has a good, you know, amount of passion for this game, and obviously you wouldn't get that without, you know, the kind of run that she went on. You know, that's indicative of that. Yeah, Udvardy is the player that she might face in the second round. Of course, Udvardy has to get through her first round match, but that's the Hungarian player who has been up, you know, within the top 100, and she has had good results at this level on clay, including a title, 1-2-5 title in Buenos Aires, and she's reached a bunch of other finals and didn't win, but you know, she got that clay pedigree under her belt. In Eala's section, I think there was the number 7 seed withdrew, so that was Solana Sierra. So one of the seeds dropped out in Eala's half of the draw, so that means Lipchenko went into that slot. So perhaps a bit of luck there, perhaps for Eala in terms of, you know, but still a long way to go before that would make any difference. That would have been who she'd face perhaps in the semi-finals, but Koevermans did hold, and we're on serve, 1 game each. And that was a backhand there, just sailing wide there, cross-court backhand from Eala. Yeah, she certainly, you know, plays with passion, Eala, but she'll be hoping, or she should be, you know, trying to get that balance right and be a bit more patient perhaps on this clay with her point construction. Okay, that was good forehand on the cross court there, drawing the error from Koevermans. So, and of course, what is contrast, right? You know, you can see that most of the seats there are empty. Yes, big contrast from the Miami Open. and she pretty much had a full house in most of her matches. Such a big stadiums there. But this is such as the life of a tennis player. There's not going to be too many people usually at the WTA 125 on a Monday. I don't think the forecast looks particularly good as well. So perhaps maybe some rain later. But we should be okay, hopefully, for this match anyway. So let their second serve. I know. And now a second serve from Eala. Dan asking on Twitch, have you ever been to Wimbledon before? Yes, I have been to Wimbledon. Lucky enough to have been to Wimbledon on 3 occasions. And I think I was there just on the second or third. Actually, no. Once at the second round, once in the third round, and another time it was the first round. But that was when I got to go to Centre Court. But the last time I'd been to Wimbledon was 2019. And Koevermans able to take control in that rally. It pushes it to 40-30 on the Eala serve, but Eala still with a chance to hold. And the swinging serve out wide there from Eala. But it is returned. But Eala's, she had control in the rally there, but then she put that forehand wide, and you know there was plenty of space there for her. She'd be disappointed about that. And yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying. You got to be a bit more focused, I think, you know, on this surface. And so we're at juice, and then first serve here from Eala. Oh, and was returned, and she snatched at that one and put it into the net. So we've got a break point here for Koevermans, and not the best start here for Eala. Yeah, and that was returned deep there from Koevermans, and again, Eala straight into the net. So early break here for Koevermans, and it's, yeah, not obviously the ideal start for Eala. And we did think it might be tricky. You know, a player that is definitely more experienced on clay, but also already played a couple of tournaments on the surface this year in Brazil. She only won a match at each of those tournaments, but this is the first tournament this year for Eala on the clay. And of course, the first tournament since that run in Miami. But yes, Eala, of course, you'll be hoping to play several more tournaments as we are at the start of the clay season. Yeah, and that run in in Miami, of course, she was already well known in the Philippines, Alex. She'd won the US Open as a junior, and obviously, there aren't too many like individual athletes that the Philippines has, and so when they get some good ones, they tend to get behind them well. Big country, the Philippines. I think close to 120 million people living there. And the run with the players that she beat in Miami captured the attention of the nation. And as I understand, this match, which is being streamed, you can watch the stream on the WTA website. The WTA 125 events are streamed there for free. But this is also being, broadcasted in the Philippines on those on the sports channels there. And, this is giving a lot of exposure not only to Alex, but also to, the sport of tennis, and particularly women's tennis, which was, as I understand, is had so much exposure in the Philippines, but now that's going to be getting that. It's always good to get tennis in new countries and getting exposure worldwide. So that is something that Eala is having that effect, and I mean that's a great thing to see. Oh, I just seen the question there from John asking, what about grass for Eala? Well, it's probably a surface that she can do okay. And as I said, she got through the qualification to the final round and then lost out at Wimbledon. She lost to Lulu Sun, who of course went all the way, to the quarterfinals. So, that wasn't, such a shame losing to her. But yeah, I think with the style that she plays, I do think that, perhaps that she could actually get some good results on that surface. Players that, like Eala, she's not the most powerful, but she, on a surface like that and the way she hits so flat, like she'll be able to get, a little bit more penetration on her shots, and that's maybe going to be, as she has a flat hit of the ball, that's going to be more difficult for her opponents to deal with. But yeah, it's difficult with grass. You have less. It's not a long season, right? So, but we'll have to see. And that was a break back there for Eala. So good for her. And we're back on serve, and of course she'll be wanting to hold now. Yeah. The aggression there back from Eala, but Koevermans responding, but her backhand going long. Yeah, Lulu Sun as well. I mean, another player that has sort of risen in the last year, just done very well. She represents New Zealand. She just did very well in that World Group 1. I think New Zealand won that, and so perhaps a chance for her to direct them towards the main group, the World Group. So Billie Jean King Cup finals, which the finals this year are in Shenzhen in China. China will be there as host nation. A couple of other Asian nations there in Japan and Kazakhstan who qualified, along with Italy, Great Britain, and a total of 8 nations there. Yeah, it will be difficult, perhaps, for the Philippines to make sort of the main finals. It would have to be Eala probably doing most of the work there, but that's perhaps something she can think about later. I know she has played some matches for the Philippines on the Billie Jean King Cup, and she's done well. That was a good 1-2 there from Eala. And I wonder, as we got Lucille saying that she got off work, it's 5:25 in the Philippines. She obviously got off work and she wants to go watch this match. She's watching now. I wonder how many people are actually watching in the Philippines. Trouble here for Alex, though. She's a break point for Koevermans. Oh, and it's going to be a second serve as that first serve off the tape goes long. And it's a crucial moment. Koevermans stepping inside in anticipation. Oh, it's a let. Nervous moments here for Eala. That was a very soft serve. That was a better second serve, but it was returned well by Koevermans, and she's got the upper hand here early on. Difficult moments here, this rally. But Eala's done well to get back into it. That was a deep ball there. But she's going to want to make sure she's not going to make an error here. She's got to hold on. That was good sliding there in the corners from Koevermans, and she does get the break. So 3 consecutive breaks there, and Koevermans gets back on top. So it's going to be tough here for Eala. I mean, yeah, Eala, it's been a talking point. Of course, her serve isn't the best, although she can return very well. So, perhaps we'll be expecting, as we saw like a few times as well recently, a few breaks of serve. So going both ways. Yeah. Yep, so again, yeah, we're going to have to bounce back here. Can she do it? Wouldn't put it past her. It's going to be a second serve for Koevermans. That first serve going long, and Eala, again, she steps in anticipation. Yeah. Yeah, and aggressive there, and Koevermans backhand going long. Seen it a few times, Eala going sort of big and deep on that forehand side, and then Koevermans backhand going long. Oh, and that was Koevermans going for the drop shot, but Eala way too quick, too easy for her to get there and finish off the point. So already she's in a good position to break back, just like in the last Koevermans game. Now at love 30. Yeah. I mean, this match is also being streamed on the WTA Unlocked part of the WTA website, I believe. So, and that was a wild return there from Eala going long. So it's 15:30. Sean asks if I'm a golf fan. I am not a golf fan, although I am well aware that Rory McIlroy just won the Masters, because people can't. They're just constantly seeing posts about it. Yeah, so Norlan was asking if Stuttgart's going to start today. That's a WTA 500 event. It's a clay indoors, and it's always one that people look forward to. Big names in there: Coco Gauff, Swiatek, etc. And a little opportunity. Should be disappointed with that. Eala letting that one go. So it's back to 30 all, and yeah, she's obviously be wanting to bounce back after losing serve twice, but she's going to get a chance at another second serve. That's a good return again. And yeah, good enough for Koevermans to make an error. So another break point for Eala. Oh, that was a great forehand winner down the line from Eala. And she's back on serve, but can she hold on this time? And that's been a problem. She has been difficulty holding. And yeah, since the first two games where they held for 1-all, every match, so every game has been a break of serve. So and I can actually see Filipino flag there in the corner of the screen. There in Oeiras, so she does have support there. Just about see that poking in the top right of the screen there. Yeah. Oh, it seems quite windy there as well. And that was a finish there, winner with the lob from Koevermans. So yeah, she hits, with decent topspin in that forehand side, and she was using the drop shot effectively this time. I'll be really hoping for a good first serve here. Oh no, it's going to be a second serve. That one goes into the net, and yeah. Okay, yeah, that one sort of kicking up there, the second serve, made it Koevermans a little bit awkward for her. And that just allowed Eala to step in and get that winner there, win that point. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that was Did well there, Eala. I mean, Koevermans, initially the return, she returned it deep, and this is, going to be the problem for Eala, but she was slightly on the back foot there, but she managed to regain control with some pretty strong shots of herself, and yeah, that was well done from her. And that ball must have gone out. Yep, so it's 40-15 to Eala. So yeah. And that was finally a good hold from Eala. Good construction of the point there, and yeah, it helps when you're able to get, a good first serve in, and yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how Eala sort of copes with that pressure. Is she going to be sort of perhaps re-energized in a way from that, or is she going to be feeling a little bit of pressure? She seems to have a sort of good head on her shoulders in a way. I don't think she sort of seems to just sort of being enjoying it. I think very much that came across in Miami, and but yeah, it's not always easy. And I mean, when you play in Miami in these big tournaments, I mean, it's just a normal for a lot of these players. If you're sort of on the edges of the top 100, you play these big tournaments. You might be playing with big crowds and you get some big wins, and then next thing you know, you're a challenger and you're playing in front of 5 people, and the weather's a bit gloomy. The facilities are not quite as good, and you're maybe not feeling quite as good about it. But you've got to go and do that and do the hard work, and then that's when you're going to be able to play these more of the better matches in front of bigger crowds in the bigger tournaments. And that's a good return again, and perhaps now Eala's going to be smelling blood because she got that love 15 on the Koevermans serve. If she does break here, then she'll have a chance to serve for the first set. And perhaps Koevermans will be feeling a little bit of pressure. She gets the first serve and it does kick up, and that's another deep return from Eala. She's going to have a chance to sort of get in control in this rally. Oh yeah, and that was, she went for the short angle, Eala, but just allowed Koevermans, and I think she read it to step in and finish off and get that winner there. So a little bit of a risky play there from Eala, and it doesn't pay off. Serve down the middle. Oh, and that was Koevermans sending that ball way long. And should be disappointed with that, just giving Eala a chance here at a crucial point in the match. A 15-30, of course, is always huge. And, if Eala does win this, it's going to be 2 break points for her. If she loses it, it's at 30 all, so it's completely different. And that she'll get a look at a second serve, that serve from Koevermans going out. So now we're here. Perhaps a chance. Eala's looking in anticipation, and that's a terrible serve from Koevermans. Really probably just again feeling at the moment, and that serve just dropping into the net. Never looked like going over. So chance for 2 break points here for Eala. It's a second serve, and yeah, like a big return. And she's... Yeah. And there we go. The error from Koevermans. She looks quite upset, which is natural, but 5-3 now to Eala, and she will serve for the first set. So Eala's going for her first set won since her Miami run. Serve down the middle from Eala. Probably Koevermans should have done a bit better with that. But that ball from Eala in the rally goes long. So again, not the ideal start in our service game at Eala. Love 15. And I do wonder, that fan with the flag of the Philippines in the corner, wonder how, if do they live in Portugal? How far have they travelled to go see Eala play in this match? I do wonder. But unfortunately for Eala, it's at love 30. So a bit of pressure for her now again. Oh, and it just goes wide from Koevermans. Yeah, some people are wondering if you can actually watch the stream of the match. Yeah, you can through the WTA website, WTAtennis.com. If you see, I think it's WTA Unlocked. You have to sign up for a membership, but if you log in through that, WTA Unlocked, you can get a stream of this and all the other WTA 125 events. So it's going to second serve 15-30 on the Eala serve. And this is... Yeah, crucial here. And that was a good backhand cross court. And it does draw the error. It wasn't called, but Eala circling the mark, and probably it did look long. The umpire's come down, and yes, it confirms it is out. And that was pretty good play, I thought, from Eala under pressure. You know, she's going big and deep on those strokes there. I mean, she does do pretty well to get that ball quite deep at times, and yeah, so just about getting the balance right as well on when to pull the trigger on this surface. But yeah, the serve coming down the middle, and that was really just, it was, Koevermans should have done better there. I mean, that was, obviously just didn't expect it to come maybe straight down again and down the middle. She was moving a little bit. So we have a set point here for Eala, 40-30. But it will be a second serve. And that's a good forehand there. And she comes in. Wow. Eala. Oh, okay, it's gone wide. She went quite wild there with the drive volley, and I guess it's just gone into the tram lines there. I did think that was... I mean, she probably didn't need to be that aggressive, so it's going to be deuce. Eala still got some work to do to get this set done. Yep, and again, Eala just, you know, that was more or less, it was fairly deep ball, but it was just down the middle, and an error there from Koevermans. I mean, I don't think she's going to be happy at all with some of the errors that she's been making in this match. Serve down the middle. But yeah, not good enough. I mean, it was just Koevermans was expecting it, and the return was good enough so that Eala just couldn't get the ball back in play. And we're back on juice. Yes, getting this first serve in does help. So we have another set point. Can Eala get over the line here, finally? It's a serve in. But yeah, I was on the back foot, but then Koevermans going for the drop shot, and that was a very poorly executed. But there we go. Eala wins the first set 6-3. We see some cheers there and applause. You wonder if you know, there's more than just the one Filipino fan in there. How many have come to see her play? I mean, of course, I saw that it's being broadcasted live in the Philippines, which is great to see on one of their channels there. So, you know, only a WTA 125 event. You know, these events are not always televised, and you know, in different countries. We've got an ATP Tour. Or sorry, I should say ATP Challenger 125 event now here in Korea, going on in Busan. Not sure if that's being televised anywhere. Fortunately, it was raining today, so a lot of those, well, almost all but one match was cancelled, so they postponed until tomorrow. Quite a few players taking part there, though, in Changhyun on the comeback. Kwon Sun-woo, who's actually still doing his military service but is allowed to play his home tournaments, or for the Davis Cup team. But yeah, obviously this is a home tournament. He gets the wild card, and a few guys like Christopher Eubanks, Emil Ruusuvuori on the comeback trail, trying to get back up, I guess, back up to that ATP level. They have to play these challengers. And there's the schedule there on the screen that for this event, Oeiras, the WTA 125, got Alex is the first on the centre court this current match. Katie Volinets is up next. And yeah, you got a few other players like Ioannou. She's the 5th seed there, and she got a tough match actually against Victoria Jimenez Katsinseva of Andorra. And Ioannou, yeah, she's someone that slipped down. She was in the top 50. I think she's now about 100 in the world. So, yeah, it's tough out there on the tour, and you know, being just outside the top 100 and being top 50 is a big difference in terms of sort of, you know, your sort of earnings and just your level, right? So already we've got the second set ready to go. Anouk Koevermans of the Netherlands to serve first. And it was a decent return there. And Alex Eala. Okay, yeah, she was coming into the net there. And it was all right, approach shot, but I mean, it was just enough for Koevermans to make an error. So I do think Alex, she looked focused, to be fair, and she didn't panic, obviously going down breaks, but she knew she would have her chances. She's taken them. And she probably was favourite, obviously, coming into this match, but I don't think a massive favourite. I mean, given that it's not her favourite surface, but that was another double fault there from Koevermans. So Koevermans is, she's not been looking too good, let's be honest, and certainly the last half of this set, or the half of the first set. And yeah, it's going to be pressure here, and this might, if Alex can get an early break here, that might be the little springboard for her to kick on and get this wrapped up, maybe in straights. Oh, but that was good forehand deep there from Eala. We're in an exchange there that, yeah, she goes into the backhand side, and Koevermans tries to slice, but it goes into the net, and yeah, been quite a few errors from that backhand side from Koevermans. Ooh. Yeah, Eala going big on this return there, and it goes long. After each of the points, I always find it funny how Alex, she always likes to, do the stroke actions. She's never stopped doing that, so it's just her little ritual. And that was another double fault there from Koevermans, so probably just seeing Alex just waiting there to pounce. She's looking very eager, and obviously she hasn't been looking too good, Koevermans, in this match. So an early break for Eala, and one game closer to her, well, first victory since that run in Miami. And yeah, I'm sure she'll be, if she can get through this, Eala should be very happy. As I say, she hasn't had so much experience on the clay, hasn't had really many good results on it. Other than that, that WTA 1000 event in Madrid last year, but as I said, it's very specific conditions there. But I mean, yeah, she will be playing there again, surely. And it's going to be interesting to see how she does. I mean, I think, she's obviously been fired up when she's had these chances to play these bigger events, and she's done well sort of in qualifying the last year, missing out in the final hurdle, but giving it a good go. And now that she's going to be getting into more of these big events, near the top 70, she'll be getting into more WTA events directly, and of course with that ranking, she's definitely going to be playing the French Open main draw. And then perhaps, like we were talking earlier about how can she do on grass, if she can sort of maintain that ranking, she's probably going to be in the main draw as well for Wimbledon. And yeah, I think that's a surface where, she might be able to do a little bit of damage. So, but as I said, it's, not the longest season with on the grass. So as many matches you can get lead up to Wimbledon, it's going to make all the difference. And actually, this is a WTA 125 event, which is, obviously getting to the semi-finals at the Miami Open, you would say is probably a better outcome than winning a WTA 125. But she hasn't won at this level yet. She was in the semis of a 125 at the start of this year, I think in Brisbane. And she won a 100, an ITF 100 title last year, which is the biggest title to date. That was a good victory, and that also happened to be, that was in Madrid, but that was on hard courts. And yeah, so I mean, if she was to go on to win this, it would still be a great achievement in her, you know, still fairly young career. Yeah, and she was doing okay in that rally, but then yeah, I would say maybe getting a little bit carried away and that backhand going into the net. So chance double break back point here for Koevermans. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously quite a few breaks exchanged in that first set, and perhaps we could see more again in this second set. It's pretty windy there, it seems. That first serve going way long from Eala. Let's see if she can get this second serve in. It's very short. Yeah, that was just too easy for Koevermans, and that's break back for her. So it's one game all again, and neither player having held. Yeah, and hopefully we don't get any rain delaying play, because I did look at that forecast on Oeiras. It didn't look too good, but let's hope it holds off for now. Yeah, and that's Eala getting the first point in this game. I mean, I think with Eala, you know, she's definitely a fighter, and she'll fight for a lot of boys, and you know, she's not obviously the biggest player, and you know, a lot of women in the you know, the modern game, you know, they've got good power on them. They've, Eala's not sort of one of those players, but she's able to get a lot of balls back that allowed her, you know, maybe when you think like she's behind in the rallies, you know, she's having to work quite hard, but she just does enough, and she's able to work her way into the points sometimes, and that's, yeah, she's aggressive there again. She was on top in that one, and that was a good backhand cross court, and she wins that point. So already pressure again, and yeah, we might see a few games like this in this second set. Perhaps we'll see another break go, but oh. So yeah, 15-30 on the Koevermans serve. Well, that was a return deep. Koevermans circles the mark. She seems convinced it was out. It looked like it might just be long. And yes, the umpire confirms that it was. So Koevermans lucky there. But yeah, she's at 30 all. Sean's asking her, how did Eala come through? Was she coached in Europe? Yeah, Eala has been training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca since she was 13 years of age. She is now 19. So she's had a good education there, and yeah, with all the coaches there, of course, Rafa, Tony, etc. Wow, that lob just landing on the baseline. Yeah, it's an interesting exchange here, a long exchange between Eala and Koevermans. And if she can... Oh, it was just going long there, so right, deuce. Yeah, we had a little picture there of that was Eala graduating there. She's with Iga Swiatek. Of course, Swiatek also came, was at that academy, and yeah, so she's had a good education, and so people have known about her for a while. There's also Coleman Wong, and they also trained there, and still has a coaching team from there, I believe. So, yep. So and we're advantage Koevermans, so perhaps she is going to hold here after being down love 30. And Koevermans doing better now. That was a good hold, and she lets out a big roar because she knows that was a pretty good game for her. And yeah, definitely a much better point from her point of view, considering how she'd been playing sort of more recently. The conditions there. Is it raining now? It looked gusty. And they've got some umbrellas up there. Now, of course, this is on clay, so as long as the rain's not too heavy, which I guess it's not very heavy, then they will continue to play, but I'm not entirely sure if maybe it's getting a bit heavier now, so yeah, not ideal conditions, and it doesn't look like it looks like they're ready to take a sort of break here. I mean, we are. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. So the stream's stopped there. So yeah, anyway, I mean, we've got Eala up 6-3, and it's 2-1 to Koevermans in the second set. We're on serve, though. Unfortunately, the weather seems to have intervened here, I guess. Okay, the stream's back up. Okay, so we are going to continue. I thought the weather was going to stop us there, but no, we're okay. Yeah, of course, as I was saying, like Ayala's, that was a huge run for her in Miami, and there's huge expectations on her now. I mean, how is she going to handle that going forward? Not the best serve there, and Koevermans steps in and hits that forehand winner easily. So she gets the first serve in, and she gets on top, and that's a big forehand. She likes that forehand when she, inside out or going up the line like that with that lefty forehand she has. Yeah, that was, I mean, it really started from the serve just wasn't quite good enough for, and just Koevermans was on top in that point from early on, so 15-30 now on the Eala serve. And if she's got to be careful. I mean, I think, yeah, if Koevermans does win this game, she'll be ahead by 2 games, potentially by 3. Yeah, we haven't seen that yet in this match. Yeah, and the backhand crosscourt, yeah, not high enough. And it's an error. So 2 break points here for Koevermans. And you know, we started off with an early break for Eala, and we thought maybe she might run away with this because Koevermans wasn't looking in great shape, but Koevermans has managed to turn it around, and it'll be great for her if she's actually able to get the break here. Yes, and this is going to be difficult. And yeah, Koevermans is playing better now, and it's another break, so Koevermans will serve at 3-1, and Eala's got some work to do. Oh, I've just seen there another withdrawal in the ATP event in Barcelona. So Jacob Fernley gets in to play against Carles Baena. So many players withdrawing. And that's a good start though from Eala. She wins the first point on the Koevermans serve. I mean, I feel like that's happened numerous times. I don't know if I've lost how many times, lost count of how many times that's happened, but yeah, she's gonna have her chances in the return games for sure. I can hear sort of on the camera, I can hear the pitter patter of rain. And not ideal, but it's, you know, they're going to play on, so I guess it's not too heavy, and we'll get another second serve here from Koevermans. Eala waiting eagerly. And yeah, deep enough return into the backhand side of Koevermans, and that draws the error. So Eala, love 30 again on that Koevermans serve. So it's been a theme in this match, really, that, you know, when Koevermans is broken, Eala's bounced right back. So and it, you know, that Koevermans hold that she had earlier, you know, she'd done well to actually get that hold there, because it's, you know, hasn't been coming for her in this match. Second serve there is returned okay from Eala. She's on top in this point, but she's got to be careful. And she just does enough there, so it's an Eala's back on serve. Oh, no, we've still got, was it one more point? Yeah, so she's got it's just saying that she's broken, yeah, she's still got one more point to win here. So she's got a break point here, Eala. Is she gonna take it? She's on top, and that, yeah, she does take it. The forehand doing the work there. Okay, yeah, so yeah, we are finally back on serve. It's confusing there. John was asking who withdrew. That was who was it? That was Jordan Thompson withdrew from Barcelona, which means Fernley gets in. Which is, yeah, it is, of course. Fernley gets in as a lucky loser, having lost that final qualifying match, and another player. I mean, they're sort of the umpires assessing the conditions here because I guess there's quite a bit of rain falling. I mean, I guess they're going to continue playing, which is. Oh no, I spoke too soon. So the umpire does confirm that play is suspended. Unfortunately, yeah, we have to stop here for a rain delay. Yeah, we've got the Asian tennis news on the screen there. We have Madrid update. Zhang and Shang out. It's been a theme of the year, really, is Shang withdrawing from tennis tournaments, especially. Zhang, not so much, but Shang, yeah, he just seems to be struggling physically for various reasons, and unfortunately he has withdrawn. When I was in Hong Kong, he withdrew then because of illness, but then there's also been physical issues and injuries, so yeah. And unfortunately, this match between Eala and Koevermans has to stop due to the rain, which was going, and it's just got too heavy, and the umpires decided that we have to stop.
Hey, hey, Eddie, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. So yes, tennis being tennis, it's a tricky situation, and obviously, if they're off court for 1, 2, 3 hours, then we'll have to bring it to an end. But if they're off court for 15 minutes, we can obviously come back again. I wanted to be in Oeiras today, as you know, but I've not made it because of delays in Madrid. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know really. What should we do? I'm cool either way.
Yeah, like let's just see if they come back within a short time. Obviously, it being clay, they might decide to start again if it just stops, for a little bit. Or I mean, they can restart a little bit quicker, right? So, but like
what we normally do in these situations. I mean, obviously you've been doing stuff for us for a year or two now, but what we generally would do is we would sort of maybe chat for a few minutes, like we are now. Obviously, if it then looks like they're not coming back anytime soon, then we keep the stream going, but we put like a notice on the screen of rain stop play. We'll, be back as and when, and play a little bit of music and maybe leave the score on the screen as well, but also a note saying, we'll be back when it stops raining. But of course, there will come a point, whether that be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour from now, when it's like, okay, it's close to midnight in Seoul or whatever it is. And also if there's no sign of a return. Unfortunately, I'm guessing the WTA website doesn't show the court when they're off court, right?
What you mean, like?
Because you said the screen went blank, didn't you, on the WTA website?
Oh yeah, that was just, I don't know if that was just a glitch, because I don't know what happened there, but yeah, because they didn't actually stop at that point, and then.
Okay, so are they? Can you still see the screen?
Yeah, the stream's still going, and they're just they're just sweeping the courts, etc. So
okay,
I'm guessing it's not too bad, but yeah, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, if they're just sweeping the courts, and but the players have gone off court, I guess.
Yeah, they have gone off court. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's probably an easier decision to make them to go off court there than a big event where they can chill at the side of the court. I mean, there's obviously seats at the side of the court in Oeiras, but it's also 1 minute away from the changing rooms or whatever, so they can easily get there. Whereas if you're a big tournament, it can take you 5 minutes to get your stuff together and get to the locker room, if you like. So the temptation to stay on court at a big event is obviously greater. But anyway, them going off court suggests something, but not necessarily a lot, because they could soon be back on court. Because, like I say, the locker room is a minute away. I know exactly that environment very well. Before we do put a pause to the stream, tell me, this has just been one break after another. Eala is kind of known for, not having the most potent serve on tour. And of course, that's made she's even more vulnerable on this surface.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and she's very difficult for her to get a serve in that's actually going to get her with, an advantage early on in the point. And then, on the other side, she's also a very eager returner, and she does return well. And I think that was causing Koevermans a little bit of distress. That's how it went. But and then she was actually eventually able to get some half decent service games in, and I mean, I won't be surprised if they come back and they exchange a few more breaks. So
Right. Just one other thing as well is that they're just Eala was on that sort of period from 3-2 down to then breaking for 1-love at the beginning. I think that was 5 games in a row, which is possibly going to be the deciding factor today. That's going to be the deciding period of the match. If Eala does go on to win this match in whatever form, it'll be that period. Was she playing much better? Was Koevermans off it, or a little bit of both?
I think definitely Koevermans was off it. I mean, I think Eala was just playing a little bit better in terms of she wasn't making as many errors, right? So, sort of just consistently. I mean, I guess she was keeping the ball fairly deep. I mean, sort of risky play, but she wasn't having to do too much, right? But because Koevermans was making a few errors, and I think she probably was targeting Koevermans' backhand. I know a few more errors coming off that side. So, the main problem as well, she's just not so many breaks of serve. So,
yeah. All right. Well, listen, we'll possibly be back in the very near future if the players return to the court. If it does get to a point that we know we're not coming back anytime soon, then I'll put a note on the screen, or I'll even come on the stream and just say, look, no play at the moment, and we'll come back some of the time. And if Eala progresses, I hope that we can cover more of her matches this week.
Yeah, because you're there, right? Are you going to be able to?
I will be there. I will be there tomorrow. But I'm guessing she won't play probably until Wednesday now, if she wins today, of course.
Yeah. So are you there officially covering the both tournaments? Okay. Yeah, right. Nice.
So of course there's the Challenger as well. So lots going on. All right. Well, listen, we'll go and chill out for a little while, and maybe, hopefully, possibly be back with you shortly. But in the meantime, do make sure you hit like and do subscribe, whether you're watching on Talking Tennis or on Tennis Asia TV. Stay with us. Keep the stream running, because at some point we may randomly be back and you'll hear the dulcet tones of Eddie's voice as he takes us through the remainder of the match. But in the meantime, we're going to take a break, and we'll see you all soon. What video shall I play? Okay, I know which one we're going to do first of all. Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Play. So should we get into one of the bigger stories of the week in
Probably
Alexandra Eala?
The story of the week. Let's be honest. I mean, everything was about Alex Eala this week, and I think her run to break into the top 100 makes her worthy of the Jakob Bobro Award for this week. Across the WTA and the ATP, there was no other story that was worthy of being recognised in honour of someone who was very passionate about seeing younger players break through. And what a breakthrough. Just, I have one word in my notes when it comes to Alex Eala, and it's wow, exclamation mark. And honestly, I was so impressed by her insane confidence and bravery across the whole run, taking out 3 Grand Slam champions. And she was not phased at all. She didn't seem phased at all, other than maybe the end of the first set against Pegula. But yeah, this was, as you say, the biggest story of this tournament for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, Nick. It was just it kept she kept defying these odds. But I think her play style really, captures her mentality. And not that I want to compare it to Rafa, because obviously that's a stretch, but obviously being a Rafa Academy prospect, and being a lefty, and just tenacious defense, mixing up the heights of the ball, impressive movement, no giving up. It's and she plays with, a serious aggression and, determined kind of mentality out there on court. And I think she has a lot of confidence. So it was a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, totally. You said her game reminds you of Rafa. I'm trying to pin it down, because a lot of people said it reminded her of Leylah Fernandez.
Totally.
Very energized, lefty, bit of a counterpuncher, but she can hit so deep. She is able to generate some power. Her strokes are so smooth. It's just a little bit different. And also she's taller than Leylah. And that kind of throws me off a bit. There's elements of Raducanu I throw in there as well. I guess it depends. There's some obvious things that need developing, like the serve. The serve is currently a bit underpowered, and it is a vulnerability. But she's still 19. She turns 20 in May. How excited are you about her prospects, given all the things that maybe we're talking about with the potential that we're seeing in her game right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Especially, with kind of where the tour's at. I kind of look at this as we go into, I guess, the second little part. I don't know how many, I say we can divide the season into quarters, but it's got to be impressive. And I'm big on variety in terms of a player, being able to adapt to who they're playing, and playing with different styles. And I just think her game it speaks a lot to that kind of ability, where it seems like her game will transition to clay really, really nicely, very smoothly. But you think about just kind of her ability and mentality and attitude. I think that's what's going to help propel her up the rankings. She's such a competitor, but obviously we saw kind of how proud of herself that she was, and she was, gracious in defeat. But just like excited about all the accomplishments she did make this week in Miami.
Her losing moment in that semi-final was one of the highlights for me of that tournament, because like most players kind of will grab their bag and walk off court and need to process, and she just sat back and took in the support, absolutely loving it, and appreciated like how well she had done despite losing what had been a very, very intense match. And I think, I talked about her confidence, her bravery, as you said, in her game. If she stays brave and remembers to love the game, win or lose, which she did this week, that's going to keep her a very, very strong player, regardless of any technicalities. She's going to be a ruthless competitor. And I think that's very, very exciting for the game of tennis, as is the sudden interest in the game that's come from the Philippines now. And I'm only saying this based on the fact that when I talked about the match with the semi-final, I put a tweet out and it got 1K likes, and most of it was, and the vast majority came from Filipino accounts, as far I can assume. Like, there's a nation that just discovered this sport, and I think that's really, really exciting.
Totally. And I do want to, circle back to hear a little bit more on your thoughts in terms of, we make like the Leylah Fernandez comparison, and I agree. Kind of like a grinder mentality that has a little bit of, maybe surprising power, but is able to counterpunch so well. But it's been kind of I wouldn't say fall off, but it's felt a little bit of like a stall from Fernandez, where she hasn't really progressed. Do you think Eala can get into that, top 40-ish range and hang out there? Would she be able to, continue to make that jump as she develops? Or what's,
think so,
I
yeah.
guess, realistic kind of scenario, let's say over the next year or two?
I think so. Look, Leylah Fernandez is hanging around the top 30 right now. And if you look at, how she performs, she's very sort of, she struggles to get a run together, but she usually wins 1, maybe 2 games a tournament. And I think Eala has very similar qualities that will keep her in that range. I think also there's possibly a little bit more potential because she has got people who've gone before her to kind of learn from. And I think it's all going to come down to how she develops her game, and sort of what kind of highs and lows she experiences in her career. I certainly think that she's been hyped for a long time as a prospect. She's been getting IMG wildcards for a year or 2 now. I think now we see why. I think she's going to be in the mix and for CDEC Grand Slams, at least for a good few years when she gets up there. I certainly think that top 40, top 30 jump is well within her. And I think that's super, super exciting. Because I was going to ask whoever came on, like that Leylah Fernandez comparison. Is there anything that you think she could learn from Leylah's experience? Because their runs were very similar. Leylah's breakout run was very similar to that US Open a few years back.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, staying healthy is most important. But I do think about like her ability to translate her game across surfaces. Like what surprised me most is like I was kind of like, when is this level gonna drop? Is she gonna start making mistakes? And she just kept making balls. And I think like that consistency on the tour can take you so far. In my mind, I'm thinking a little bit about, like Coco Gauff and the mentality getting in the way and how many, unforced errors unravel and it leaks into the serve. But Eala's like so comfortable to just, roll in the serve and play out the point. Like her patterns of play are so consistent, strategic, and especially being a lefty, like it's always posing a threat. So a lot of fun this week having such a breakout run, and looking forward to her season or the rest of the season in the clay swing.
One last question. We said that Pegula versus Eala was one of the matches of the tournament, or you said that. I'm going to say it was the clear match of the tournament. I know Raducanu Navarro was pretty good as well. Yeah, I would say that in terms of the drama of the match and the consistent quality all the way through and the kind of what was on the line, I would definitely say that was the match of the week or at the tournament. Do you think we're still going to be talking about it as one of the matches of the year? Or is that a bit of a stretch?
I think it might be a stretch for a few reasons. One, kind of our timing here. I think like if Pegula went and maybe won it all, it would have a little bit more of a tick there. But yeah, I mean, I just think like here we are, almost like I said, like a third crazy run of the season. That match had it all, and it like you said, it was consistent quality throughout, and it was such a fight till the end. So I don't know. I mean, it was a semifinal though, so that's where.
And I think the other thing about what it had was drama about it, and like there were momentum swings within every set. Each set was super close, even the 6-3 one. Like Eala was pushing to break back when Pegula was serving it out, and Eala could have won set 1. Pegula could have won set 2. All 3 sets could have gone either way, and I can't think of any other match this tournament that kind of had that. So in the women's side. So for me, I think that's where we're at.
Good call.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready. Play.
We're back, and that was great timing there, actually, as thankfully that rain delay wasn't too long, and we've got Eala just about to serve right now. Okay, first serve, it goes in, and thankfully that rain delay didn't last too long. And wow, that was a risky backhand up the line there from Eala, but it goes out. So it's love 15 to start off in this game from Eala. She's had trouble holding, throughout this match. But that was a good serve, but it was just returned by Koevermans. But yeah, I mean, Eala getting a little bit carried away, and another backhand into the net there. Trying to be aggressive, but snatching at it, and she's actually already under pressure here at love 30. Of course, she's already up a set, and but she gets a point on the board there. She's going back in behind there. And just doing enough on the Koevermans, into the Koevermans backhand. And we've seen a few errors on that side. And yeah, I mean, I think Eala's been targeting that when she can. So 15-30 though, which of course is crucial. And Koevermans steps in. I mean, Eala's not got the strongest serve. And yeah, Koevermans was able to return that right into the corner. A return winner. And Eala will face 2 break points here at 15-40. And will she be taken to a third set? Another first serve goes long. And Koevermans is waiting there. Yeah, and Koevermans aggressive there coming into net, and she's back on top in this set at 4-2, and yeah, already more games for her in this set than in the previous one. And yeah, certainly Koevermans has been doing better in this set in terms of her play. I mean, and perhaps, obviously the rain delay there, helping her out a little bit. But she sends that first serve out, and there'll be a second serve from Koevermans. And it's been a theme of this match where Eala has managed to break back after getting broken. And yeah, I mean, she was just waiting to pounce there. Eala with the return weather forehand, stepping right into the court. I mean, it felt like she had so much time there. And that's the problem from perspective of Koevermans. It seems like almost any time she does get ahead a break, she has been broken back. And eventually Koevermans, Eala, she hasn't been holding too much herself, but she was able to at the right moment in the first set, which allowed her to take that first set 6-3. It's just gonna be another second serve here from Koevermans, and it's not ideal. And then it's a double fault, and the rain's coming down a bit stronger. She seems to be upset that she had to set that serve. And unfortunately, the rain is so strong that it looks like they're just about to stop play because the rain's coming down too hard. And unfortunately, we haven't been back too long, and it already, yeah, it looks like the rain is very heavy this time. So everyone immediately running to get out of there as quick as possible. And yeah, such is the world of tennis. This is what we have to contend with. And yeah, running off court, the players there. So, and the ball kids, quite a lot of yeah, I mean, I think it's probably best that we're gonna have to take a break again. I don't think it's going to be back for a while, just looking at the way the rain is at the moment. But yeah, not ideal here for Eala. Obviously, first match back since her run, but she was getting into the Koevermans game there, hoping to break back again instantly. But after another long delay, which looks like it's going to be perhaps longer than the last one. That's going to sort of perhaps give Koevermans time to sort of regroup and perhaps be able to hold on. So, but let's see. I mean, I'm not sure about other matches elsewhere, but in Oeiras at the moment, you know, the qualifying matches are still going on, and they've not even finished yet. Although this main draw match is you know, well underway, and the weather's not looking too good, so we might not be able to see many more matches today in Oeiras. And there's some of the bigger players we're supposed to be playing today, like Katie Volinets and Johan Nue, and yeah. So
Yeah, okay, Eddie, we'll take a break, a bit like last time. We'll talk again in 15, 20 minutes. And if it's not looking good, then, yeah, but who knows? I mean, if rain stops play for the entire day, we can maybe even restart tomorrow. But listen, if Eala does return to the court, but it's in 2 or 3 hours, I think that'll be too late. But if she does return to the court in 2 or 3 hours and wins, we'll try and cover more of her matches this week. So there'll be plenty more content regarding her, and of course Anouk potentially today if they return to the court in the near future. But in the meantime, we'll just play some other Eala related videos, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Eddie.
yeah, cheers.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Play.
So should we get into one of
Yeah,
the bigger stories of the week in
probably
Alexandra
the story,
Eala?
the
Yeah.
story of the week. Let's be honest. I mean, everything was about Alex Eala this week, and I think her run to break into the top 100 makes her worthy of the Jakob Bobro Award for this week. Across the WTA and the ATP, there was no other story that was worthy of being recognised in honour of someone who was very passionate about seeing younger players break through. And what a breakthrough. I have one word in my notes when it comes to Alex Eala, and it's wow. exclamation mark. And honestly, I was so impressed by her insane confidence and bravery across the whole run, taking out 3 Grand Slam champions. And she was not phased at all. She didn't seem phased at all, other than maybe the end of the first set against Pegula. But yeah, this was, as you say, the biggest story of this tournament for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, Nick. It was just it kept like, she kept defying these odds. But I think her play style like really, captures her mentality. And not that I like want to compare it to Rafa, because obviously that's a stretch, but obviously being a Rafa Academy prospect, and being a lefty and just like tenacious defense, mixing up the heights of the ball, impressive movement, no giving up. It's and she plays with, like a serious aggression and, determined kind of mentality out there on court. And I think she has a lot of confidence. So that was it was a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, you said her game reminds you of Rafa. I'm trying to pin it down, because a lot of people said it reminded her of Leylah Fernandez.
Totally.
Very energized, lefty, bit of a counterpuncher, but she can hit so deep. She is able to generate some power. Her strokes are so smooth. It's just a little bit different. And also she's taller than Leylah. And that kind of throws me off a bit. There's elements of Raducanu I'd throw in there as well. I guess it depends. Like, there's some obvious things that need developing, like the serve. The serve is currently a bit underpowered, and it is a vulnerability. But she's still 19. She turns 20 in May. How excited are you about her prospects, given all the things that maybe we're talking about with the potential that we're seeing in her game right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Especially, with kind of where the tour's at. I kind of look at this as we go into, I guess, like the second little part. I don't know how many, I say we can divide the season into like quarters, but it's got to be impressive. And I'm big on variety in terms of a player, being able to adapt to who they're playing and playing with different styles. And I just think her game it speaks a lot to that kind of ability, where it seems like her game will transition to clay really, really nicely, very smoothly. But you think about just kind of her ability and mentality and attitude. I think that's what's going to help propel her up the rankings. She's such a competitor, but obviously we saw kind of how proud of herself that she was, and she was, gracious in defeat. But just like excited about all the accomplishments she did make this week in Miami.
Her losing moment in that semi-final was one of the highlights for me of that tournament, because like most players kind of will grab their bag and walk off court and need to process, and she just sat back and took in the support, absolutely loving it, and appreciated like how well she had done despite losing what had been a very, very intense match. And I think, I talked about her confidence, her bravery, as you said, in her game. If she stays brave and remembers to love the game, win or lose, which she did this week, that's going to keep her a very, very strong player, regardless of any technicalities. She's going to be a ruthless competitor. And I think that's very, very exciting for the game of tennis, as is the sudden interest in the game that's come from the Philippines now. And I'm only saying this based on the fact that when I talked about the match with the semi-final, I put a tweet out and it got 1K likes and most of it was, and the vast majority came from Filipino accounts, as what I can assume. Like, there's a nation that just discovered this sport, and I think that's really, really exciting.
Totally. And I do want to, circle back to hear a little bit more on your thoughts in terms of, we make like the Leylah Fernandez comparison, and I agree. Kind of like a grinder mentality that has a little bit of, maybe surprising power, but is able to counterpunch so well. But it's been kind of I wouldn't say fall off, but it's felt a little bit of like a stall from Fernandez, where she hasn't really progressed. Do you think Eala can get into that, top 40-ish range and hang out there? Would she be able to, continue to make that jump as she develops? Or what's
think so,
I
yeah.
guess realistic kind of scenario, let's say over the next year or two?
I think so. Look, Leylah Fernandez is hanging around the top 30 right now. And if you look at, how she performs, she's very sort of, she struggles to get a run together, but she usually wins 1, maybe 2 games a tournament. And I think Eala has very similar qualities that will keep her in that range. I think also there's possibly a little bit more potential because she has got people who've gone before her to kind of learn from. And I think it's all going to come down to how she develops her game, and sort of what kind of highs and lows she experiences in her career. I certainly think that she's been hyped for a long time as a prospect. She's been getting IMG wildcards for a year or 2 now. I think now we see why. I think she's going to be in the mix and for seeded at Grand Slams, at least for a good few years when she gets up there. I certainly think that top 40, top 30 jump is well within her. And I think that's super, super exciting. Because I was going to ask whoever came on, like, that Leylah Fernandez comparison. Is there anything that you think she could learn from Leylah's experience? Because their runs were very similar. Leylah's breakout run was very similar to that US Open a few years back.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, staying healthy is most important. But I do think about like her ability to translate her game across surfaces. Like, what surprised me most is, like, I was kind of like, when is this level going to drop? Is she going to start making mistakes? And she just kept making balls. And I think like that consistency on the tour can take you so far. In my mind, I'm thinking a little bit about, like Coco Gauff and the mentality getting in the way and how many, unforced errors unravel and it leaks into the serve. But Eala's like so comfortable to just, roll in the serve and play out the point. Like, her patterns of play are so consistent, strategic, and especially being a lefty, like it's always posing a threat. So a lot of fun this week having such a breakout run, and looking forward to her season or the rest of the season in the clay swing.
One last question. We said that Pegula versus Eala was one of the matches of the tournament, or you said that. I'm going to say it was the clear match of the tournament. I know Raducanu Navarro was pretty good as well. I would say that in terms of the drama of the match and the consistent quality all the way through and the kind of what was on the line, I would definitely say that was the match of the week or at the tournament. Do you think we're still going to be talking about it as one of the matches of the year? Or is that a stretch?
I think it might be a stretch. For a few reasons. One, kind of our timing here. I think like if Pegula went and maybe won it all, it would have a little bit more of a tick there. But yeah, I mean, I just think like here we are, almost like I said, like a third crazy run of the season. That match had it all, and it like you said, it was consistent quality throughout, and it was such a fight till the end. So I don't know. I mean, it was a semifinal though, so like that's
And
where.
I think the other thing about what it had was drama
Right.
about it, and like there were momentum swings within every set. Each set was super close, even the 6-3 one. Like Eala was pushing to break back when Pegula was serving it out, and Eala could have won set 1. Pegula could have won set 2. All 3 sets could have gone either way, and I can't think of any other match this tournament that kind of had that. So in the women's side. So for me, I think that's where we're at.
Good call.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Alexandra Eala's fairy tale run is at an end at the Miami Open as Jessica Pegula beats her 7-5, 5-7, 6-3. It was a mammoth battle between the two, with the match having many twists and turns before eventually Pegula emerged the winner. It was, though, Eala who started the brighter with an early break before Pegula immediately broke back. Eala then broke again and did serve for that first set, but 2 double faults cost her badly as Pegula broke back at such a crucial moment. Pegula then won the tiebreak reasonably comfortably before going up an early break in the second set, and when she was leading 3-1, it felt like the match was pretty much done, and Eala needed some treatment as well for an ankle injury or foot injury that she incurred when she had a fall during the match. She got that sort of strapped up a little bit, but still it felt like that, plus some fatigue, plus the blow of losing that first set in such a dramatic fashion before going down a break in the second. It just didn't seem like she had any way back, but she didn't give up. She pegged back Pegula and even briefly went up a break in that second set before Pegula again responded with an immediate break back of her own. But undeterred, Eala then broke again and took that second set 7-5, showing a wherewithal that belied her tender age. She's just 19 and won't turn 20 until May this year. A tight third set had a few twists and turns, but was a bit of a much tighter affair with less breaks than the previous 2 sets. But after a couple of unforced errors, including a fairly makeable shot at the net, and there was another one that went in the tram lines, Eala lost her serve for 3-4, sorry. So then it became 3-5. Pegula then serving for the match goes love 30 down, but 4 points in a row went the way of an American. And Pegula will now play Aryna Sabalenka in the final in Miami in what will be a repeat, of course, of their US Open final showdown last year that went the way of Aryna. However, it was Alex Eala that still took many of the plaudits from today. She's now going to come up against Alex Eala, and it's going to be another one of those where, every match that Eala's probably played pretty much in this tournament, she's been a huge underdog in most or all of them. I mean, the volley nets one was her first round opponent and probably was a little under the radar at that point as a wildcard, but she sort of made her mark in the Ostapenko match where she would have been the underdog. It gets, the tasks get bigger and meaner, and then she comes up against Madison Keys where she was a massive underdog but managed to overcome Madison spraying a lot of unforced errors in there, and then she had the walkover over Badosa before yesterday's monumental, mammoth, seismic, I think was one word I think maybe Damien used, and he's absolutely right, win over Swiatek. What were your thoughts on Eala's win there in particular?
Yeah, John, this is just, it's been insane in terms of the run, but I think it's kind of the story of the WTA this year in terms of these kind of historic runs we're seeing. Obviously Madison Keys, definitely not, a big name to, maybe even compete for a Grand Slam, but she goes on a crazy run in terms of who are the players that she's defeating. Then you see Mira Andreeva, being 17 years old, taking down the top players back-to-back Masters titles, and now, we're in our, I think, 4th Masters so far in the WTA season, and here we have another amazing story of a 19-year-old wild card in Alexandra Eala taking down, numerous Grand Slam champions, in consecutive matches.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jaime Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
And finally, we're back after 2 rain delays. But the players are back warming up and almost done with that now. Eala against Koevermans in this first round match in Oeiras, the WTA 125 event. Yeah, the weather has not been good. Windy, rainy, and that rain was too much, so they had to have a couple of delays, but we're back now, and it's a kind of crucial point in the match with Eala up a set, but down a break in the second set, but having love 30 on the Koevermans serve, so perhaps a chance for Eala to break back. And, you know, that's something that's happened repeatedly in this match. Whenever Koevermans has gone up a break, Eala's been able to get one back immediately. So, yes. And of course, there's a big anticipation here because this is Eala's first match since that incredible run in Miami. And it looks like they've just finished their serves. Unfortunately, it does sound like it's it sounds like it's still raining there. Yeah, the weather is not great, let's be honest, and hopefully this doesn't cause another delay, or at least nothing that's going to cause them to leave the court again. You know, on a clay court, we of course they can accept a little bit of rain, but oh no, I think they're going to leave the court again. So it looks like there's been a false dawn here, and that's just unfortunate. I think we're probably going to have to stop unfortunately, yeah, there we can hear it again from the umpire that play has been suspended. Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to have to probably stop it for now.
Hey Eddie, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a big audience, but a big frustrated audience as well as we are frustrated too. So yeah, it just depends on how long you want to keep trying with this. But
I think yeah, it's probably for the best that we just stop it now, and which is unfortunate, but hopefully, you know,
if for whatever reason they come back and you've got and we think we've got a good forecast and you've got the energy to keep going, then we could just do another stream and restart. But lots of people obviously tuning in, so please do hit that like button and of course subscribe if you haven't already, because that way the next time we bring you a match, particularly one involving Eala, and it may be today, it may be tomorrow, maybe another day, you will get a notification because you're going to click that notification bell as well, and you'll know when we're live. We'll also obviously got lots of pre-recorded videos both on Tennis Asia TV but also on Talking Tennis as well. So yeah, but either way, great to have you on board today. Sorry about the frustrations, but this is tennis, and we'll be back soon one way or another, won't we?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going to play out the usual outro video and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video,
make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.